Good evening, my lovelies. What is up, beautiful people? It is Sunday night, Sunday, day of the sun, where we are having a lovely new moon in Capricorn, and all things are going according to an energy pattern that allows us to start seeing things as they really are and organizing accordingly. And welcome. If you are new here, I am Papa Rose, everybody's favorite Papatillo, not Tapatillo, but just as spicy. And you are in La Casa de Juju, where we're having story time with Papa, where I sit here and share stories from my childhood, share stories from folklore that I learned when I was a kid, and all the stories both spiritual and otherwise, that I learned from my elders and those who came before me and those that I was lucky enough to meet and know. And I wanted to tell one particularly today that's going to be fun. And again, this is a series and I'm trying to stick to it and stay dedicated to it. So y'all help me out by doing me a favor. Before we go any further, please like this video, share it like TikTok, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you like all things that are esoteric and magical and spiritual and definitely Caribbean flavored, very Puerto Rican flavored, very New Yorican flavored, and also the flavor of the South, where we are here in the beloved, just close to New Orleans, but just close, but in the heart of Mississippi too. So, y'all, for if you're into all that and you want to have a little mysticism, a little reading, a little sorcery, a little everything, come on in and make yourself comfy. And thank you for joining me. Again, don't forget to ring the bell so that you get updates every time we put out a new video, like this one right y'all. So, y'all, before we go into the stories and into things, let's start with a little business. Y'all know that your Uncle Jeffrey's birthday is today, and so big shout outs to the man in my dreams, the one who keeps me together, the anchor to my kite. And if you know that story, you know that story. I might tell it later on. But the one who truly keeps me sane and together, of course, he's a Capricorn. Gotta love Capricorns. This is his birthday, and as such, he wanted to extend the 2026 forecast year readings and keep them open a little while longer. So at the end of Capricorn season, we will no longer be accepting spaces to do that reading. So you have a little bit of time. Capricorn season is at the changes on the 21st. So the 21st, which is this week, is the last time we'll be making or taking seats or spots for that. So let me know. I'll let you know in the comments below how to get to that if you want to learn what's going on in the year ahead, how we can sit down and help you navigate for your best success and for your accomplishment. And also, we have products, oils, powders, bath crystals, lotions, and other such apothecaria to help you attract the energies you want to attract, work with them and get rid of the negative energies that you have, and try and help you get a leg up on life. That said, also, if you want to have a regular divination with me or standard divination with me, if you'd like to have a mentorship, which is a little bit like a personal class where we sit and talk with you and put things together for you and help you with your own path to get your own things together, or if you'd like to have a cafe con papa, which is just really sitting here and troubleshooting your stuff like a mechanic would with your car, then let me know. It is all available. I'll leave links in the write-up as well as in the comment section. So get with me, and we are happy to welcome you here in La Casa to help you get what you need to get forward indeed. Now, tonight is the new moon in Capricorn. Of course, we're going to be sitting there and writing out our petitions, writing out our intentions, writing out our goals through this lunar energy coming in. Capricorn helps us get shit done, which is why a lot of people really misunderstand Capricorn. It's not that they're bad. It's not that they're workaholics, though they can be. It's just that they're dedicated to their work. They're dedicated to their goal. They see it and they're able to go forward to it. Like the proverbial goat that goes up the mountain to get to its goal. This is exactly what it does. They're oriented that way. So this new moon is allowing us to reach that, allowing us to set these goals and allowing us to do what we need to do to get them, to see things in a sober, I know, right, and very, very real light. Capricorn understands chaos but prefers the order of everything going, but understands that sometimes you gotta step left to get right sometimes, right? So this is what we're learning in this new moon. So what can I tell you to do? Something simple is really just write out what you want to see, write out what you want to have happen in this new moon. Go out a little bit under the stars. Even though it's a new moon, you might not see it. That energy is still out there. A lot of people go out under the full moon, and I totally, I'm a full moonaholic. But the new moon too has its power, has its strength. Draw from it as well and learn from it. This is where we get to come out of the the dark and know that little by little that light is going to be filling us. So we're going to plant our seeds, and we're also going to do something that a lot of people do, but some people don't, which is put a plan together. Stick to your plan and have extenuating, should this happen, the worst case scenario, but also keep your best case scenario too. Another thing about Capricorn is they're kind of prone to depressive swings sometimes, and it's hard because you're so focused, you're so working, you're so determined that you kind of forget to live. So let's also put into our petitions, put into our desires, put into what we want to see manifest a little bit of time to enjoy those fruits of your labor, to really enjoy them, work with them, and keep those people that you love and who love you happy and close to you. And that's my soapbox for Sunday. So get out there and do that. Also, the colors today would be, for me, since I'm working with a new moon and I'm working with a Capricorn new moon, Capricorn's colors are usually dark colors that are associated with Saturn too. So you have your dark burgundies and your black and your brown, but also a color that is associated with Capricorn is gray. I love working with the color gray. I love working with gray candles. I like working with gray colors as well because I do a lot of color magic. So now is the time, because gray neutralizes things and gray also brings balance. So you want to make sure that the black of removing negativity and the white of putting light on the subject and attracting to you are balanced. So incorporate gray in there, and also get that red for determination, and sit that whole put it together and move forward in a graduated and determined way, and the black or the brown, that is very earthy and stabilizing. So there you go. Try working this into your works. Now, tonight's story is another one of my favorite stories that I love, and especially nowadays where things seem to be very, very on uneven ground sometimes, and we have all this anger and all this when we get betrayed, and it's a story about betrayal. So sit back, y'all, and let's hear the story that I was told about a woman named Odu Owani and her best friend and what happened. Let's abide with the ancestors tonight, and the elders and the ancients. Long ago, there was a woman named Owani, and she had a best friend named Solene. They were the best of friends. They were tooth and nail and finger. They were together so tightly, thick as thieves. They ate off the same plates, and sometimes they practically slept in each other's house. They were very good friends, and as such, they grew up this way since they were kids. One day, Owani wanted to bring a little bit more money into her life and into her home, and so she decided she'd get a coconut plant and raise a coconut tree and sell the coconuts, sell coconut water, maybe do coconut candies, all sorts of things like that with the cocoa. So she did, but unfortunately, every time she tried to propagate and work with this coconut plant, these chickens, the wild chickens of the place, because they were kind of in a rural area, would come and ruin her coconut plant, wouldn't even let it really get high. So one day she bitterly complained about this to her best friend Solene, and Solene said, "Hey, I have a pail that doesn't have a bottom. That would be just the thing to put around your coconut tree so that it can grow and not be disturbed by the chickens." And she said, "Oh, really? Well, I couldn't ask that." He's like, "No, take it. It's fine. What am I going to do with it?" And she said, "Wow, thank you so much. Let's see what happens." So she took the pail, put it around her coconut plant, and worked with it and tended it and took care of it until finally she had quite the cocoa palm. The coconut palm had grown with that pail and kind of made it a part of its trunk, but it was huge, and it had some of the best coconuts. The water so fresh and sweet, the confections that were made, the food and the sweets that were made from the coconuts themselves were so incredible that Odu Owani soon had lots of money, lots of clients coming for her coconuts and her coconut work and her foods that she prepared. So much so that the spirit of jealousy began to grow like that coconut tree in the heart of Solene. And one day Solene came to Odu Owani's door and said, "My sister, remember that pail I lent you for your coconut tree?" And Odu Owani just looked confused. She said, what do you mean? Lent me? You gave me that pail. You said it had no bottom. What would you need it for? You gave that to me. And Solene said, no, I'm afraid not. I lent it to you. You must not have listened. But now I'm going to need that pail back. And Ogwani said, first of all, I don't know how you would even come out with this. This is ridiculous. You know, this. What are you going to do with a pail with no bottom anyway? And number two, in order for me to give you your pail back, I'd have to cut down my tree, which means I'd cut out everything that I've been working for. I'll be cutting out my money that I'm having. What is wrong with you? This can't, this ain't going to happen. And Solene said, well, it better happen because I lent it to you and I want my pail back. I'm not going to give any excuses or any explanations. This is just what's going to happen or else. Whew, well, you know how it gets. Words got bigger and stronger and more bitter. Bitter words turned to bitter movements, bitter actions, and violence. Lots of things occurred. They started getting in a fight in the street. And as such, the authorities intervened and dragged both Solene and Owani in front of the tribunal and in front of elders. Both of them pleaded their cases and said what they had to say. But since Solene knew people and people knew people, they looked and said, to be honest, Owani, there's nothing here that says that she gave it to you. Do you have any witnesses? Do you have anybody who could speak for you? And Owani said, we just had a verbal agreement. This was my best friend. Why should I expect her to do this to me? I would have never said this. And they said, well, because of this, I can only say that if that is her pail and you don't have anything that says that it's yours or she gave it to you, you're going to have to return it to her. That's just the way it is. That's the law. And so, with a heavy heart, Owani had to listen to what the elders in the court ruled, even though it was very unjust, and it did not listen to what she had to say. With the authorities in tow, they went and they brought down Owani's tree and gave Solene her pail back. Owani was devastated and she wept by her tree. A kindly old beggar that walked by, old, said, what troubles you, my daughter? And Owani told her story with a heavy heart. And the old man smiled and said, worry not. Listen carefully. Even though you've been wronged, act like nothing ever happened. Mourn and let that pain go away from you for one day. You will have a chance to repay every debt that has been given to you. Listen well, my daughter. Act like nothing. Nod your head and return to things as normal. And start again from the beginning with things that are yours. And you'll see what happens. Mark my words. And the Owani nodded, said thank you for the wisdom, and gave some food and some money she had to the traveling beggar man and gave him some thanks. And when she turned back around, because she turned around to go home, she turned back around to ask, he was gone. So she nodded and said, I will listen. Time went by and Owani said, hey, we're going to let bygones be bygones. Bury the hatchet. Things happen. And Solene thought that she had her best friend back and she was able to finally get rid of that purge of evil, that jealousy. She'd won. Now Solene had a daughter, a beautiful daughter. And Owani had given her a necklace, a beautiful necklace of shells and gems and stones long ago because they were the best of friends. Of course, she treated Solene's daughter like she would treat her own. And it was a beautiful necklace, so much so that Solene's daughter absolutely adored it. She wouldn't even take it off to shower or bathe, nothing. It stayed on her always. She loved it so much. The years went by, and time forgets things. Until one day, before Solene's daughter's wedding came, Owani walked to Solene's door and knocked on the door. Solene, said Owani, I hear our daughter is getting married. That's wonderful. And Solene said, yes, nothing could be better. She is so happy. I'm so happy. We're so happy. And Owani said, good, I'm happy too. By the way, since she's getting married, her husband can give her many gifts and give her things. I'll be needing my necklace back. Solene said, excuse me, what? What do you mean you want your necklace back? You gave that to her when she was a kid. And Owani said, oh no, my darling, you must have been mistaken. I lent it to her. I let her borrow it. And now the time is over. So I'll be wanting my necklace back as soon as possible, if not more, if not immediately. Solene said, you must be crazy. You have lost your mind. Have you truly gone this far for... You can stop the explanations, Owani said. Nothing else to say. Give me my necklace and we'll stay in peace. Well, you know what happened. Big words got into strong words, got into bitter words, got into bitter actions, got into fights, and it was all over but the crying. But the authorities came and took Solene and Owani in front of the tribunal. The elders were there, and some of them were elders that remembered the wrong that was done to Owani. And all of them listened to the tales that were brought before them. And the elders looked to Solene and said, Solene, do you have anything that proves that was a given, that was a gift? Do you have anything that proves that it wasn't borrowed? Well, no, but at the time we were friends, and I just thought that it was... Oh, said the tribunal, so you assumed. Well, it looks like things are right back where they started, because we can't do anything except defer to Owani. That's her necklace. You just admitted it is. And you said she gave it to you, but if she didn't give it to you and you don't have anything that proves this, you're going to have to give that necklace back to Owani. Solene, indignant, cursed everybody out on the tribunal and said, the only way my daughter's necklace will leave her neck is if you chop her head off. Well, the tribunal said, be careful what you speak, be careful what you say. That evening, Owani went home with a necklace in her hand and satisfaction. And that's all she wrote for that story. And that's how I heard it. So I give it to you. This tale comes from the Odu Owani Shobe, 11 Shells Up, in the Dilogun of Lukumi. And it is also an Odu Ifa, of course. And it illustrates the fact that you cannot, sometimes you don't have recourse. Sometimes justice is unjust. Sometimes things are unfair. And we have to go through that. We have to understand that. But it is better to be silent and work in the shadows. Wait for your time and keep building yourself up. Keep building, doing you, and doing what you do best for yourself. And seeing things as they are. You can never again trust. Sad. You can never again be where you were, but you can sit back and watch and wait. Everyone gets their necklace in the end. And remember also, on the flip side, sometimes you have to give up a necklace. Sometimes it's on you. So which side of the coin will you be on? And sometimes when you see somebody flourishing, don't hate on them. Applaud them. No matter what, applaud them. Your time will come, and everyone's time will always come. So, again, that's how I heard it. Did you hear this story before? Are you familiar with it? And if you are and you heard it differently, sound off in the comments. Let me know what's up. And with that, again, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got something from it. I hope you got a blessing too. And on this new moon, let us resolve to work towards our necklaces. The ones sometimes we get for ourselves, and work on us and allow sometimes to work quietly and in the background. And with that, y'all know what to do. Get with me on the socials, on all the thingies. I hope you enjoyed the story. And if you have any questions, you want to get with me or anything, you know what to do. Float us a note, because that's all she wrote. Y'all be kind to yourselves, be kind to one another, and watch yourselves out there. Many blessings, much love. Acheo. Later on, y'all.